Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show on this Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. The United States is celebrating Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. They're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. I know a lot of you are in preparation. We got some news stories I'm following today, and also we're going to do the markets. It's not going to be as long a show today. I'm going to try to center it in maybe around, 10, 12 minutes, something like that. We got quite a little bit of information to cover, though, in a short show. So the first thing we're going to do, I guess, is we're going to get started, and we're going to open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. There's unrest in China right now, and it's centered around the largest iPhone factory in China. I guess it's the world's largest iPhone factory. It's Foxconn's massive iPhone factory in Xingzhou, in central China. And what we're seeing is that people are upset, simply put, and there's unrest there right now. And I'll tell you, COVID is really spreading fast in China. Well, COVID spread all around the world, and it hasn't really left. I mean, what's happening is it's acting like it's kind of like replacing the flu or whatever, and colds. Now, instead of flus, colds, people get COVID. And I think that people, as they have it over and over again, this is my own personal opinion, is that I think there's getting to be more and more asymptomatic, and more it's becoming entrenched. Whether they have a name for that, endemic in the population. And so people get it over and over and over again seasonally. It's turned into like this thing that's just out there now, And so China's the only place left on earth where a lot of people haven't had it yet, And so they're having a devil of a job trying to keep it out. And so they're still shutting down businesses and stuff, and they're still moving to try to keep it out, the Chinese government. And the people are just growing upset now. They're tired of all this because it's going on year after year after year, along with other things, financial problems in China, that stemming from an enormous property, I'm going to call it a scam that they've been running for years. They have something called wealth management products that they sell. And the banks, and then they can't make good on these offers of what they're offering to people for these wealth management products. And also they sell houses that are not even built yet. And then the developers just keep moving on and selling more houses that haven't been built yet, and more houses, and they just keep adding to this giant pile of debt. And now it's all breaking apart. So there's several things happening at once here in China is causing an awful lot of social unrest, and it could grow an awful lot worse very, very soon. Now, what we're going to talk about here is this is a White House COVID response director, and he says in this video right here that God gave you two arms to get your COVID shots. I guess shots in both arms. So that's what he says. Okay, maybe I didn't read it right. It says, God gave you two arms to get your COVID flu shot, says White House COVID response director. So evidently there's two vaccines that they're pushing out there right now. It says to lump these two vaccines together, 2 for 1 type campaign as best, whatever. And so that's just what's going on. The vaccines are still going out there, but the COVID's still going out there too. And I mean, what a choice. Sicker. I mean, and that's the world. The world right now is sicker. And it's kind of like the movie. We got a movie, Dumb or Dumber. I can laugh about it, but I mean, it's sick. The whole thing's sick. And so what's the direct result of all this? Well, it says sperm count among men has dropped 60% globally in the past 45 years. Oh, I do know something about this. There's a threshold. And it's very, very interesting threshold here. Okay, so the sperm count's dropped 60%. You drop below a certain threshold, and a man can be considered infertile. We might be getting all of humanity all at the same time. We might be getting closer and closer to dropping below that threshold. So you say, well, what happens then? Well, then instead of the population increasing, the population starts to rapidly decrease. You know? And so we got all these diseases out there floating around that are aiming to kill us off. And now we've got no infertility aiming to kill us off. It looks like what's happened is we just barely touched 8 billion people on Earth a few days ago. I think it was. And that might be it, baby, all she wrote. 15 years from now, there might be 0 left. Because it's just too many obstacles for us to cross in the very near future for our survival, ultimately. I'm tired of saying, do we want that? It looks like that's what we might get. And you say, well, how can that be? If our population's been swelling and swelling and swelling, and it's just crescendo of people, of 8 billion people on Earth, how can it possibly be that our population would just shrink back to nothing in 10 or 15 years? Well, it's like that, kind of like that movie, A Series of Unfortunate Events. It's just binga banga bunga, one thing after another. And it's just a population decline of war, disease, radiation, famine, just one thing after another hitting us, and no real clear-cut solutions. Especially disease. You know, just a few days ago, I think it was a Boston University laboratory or something, invented a new type of COVID. 80% deadly. Okay, you know, the original COVID that shot everything down out there, I think was less than 1%, if I remember correctly. It was very low, very low. 80%, can you imagine? It wouldn't just shut everything down, it would just be, you wouldn't be able to clean up everything. Everything, you know, I'm not going to say it, but all of the corpse, you wouldn't be able to clean it up with something that's 80% deadly. Yeah, add that to the mix of everything else we got going for us. You know, these people with gain of function research, they call it. You go into a laboratory and they take what nature has created and then they make it into a Frankenstein. Silver price today, it's up 18 cents, 21.25. And this is going to be sort of like titanium over the next little while. If things go down, silver is going to be a little bit titanium. So if you want something that you can hold in your hand that's going to be like titanium against the disastrous market crashes and stuff, I'm not going to say it's the best form of liquidity, but I see it as a safe haven. A real safe haven to what's coming up because it's so limited in supply and they need it for industry. I see it as a real safe, and it's so cheap too. It's barely above mining production cost when you factor in the shortages, energy shortages we've been through over the last 6 months to a year. Let's take a look now at gold. Gold is up $3.10 at $17.43. What we're looking at today with cryptocurrencies is, well, we've had a little tiny bounce, $24 billion bounce. It's went up to 824. It was 800 yesterday. So Bitcoin is at 16,420. It was like 16,100 yesterday. So it's went up a little bit. Ethereum is at 1161 today. First time it's bounced any. It's been like a ball made out of lead. You throw it at the ground, it just clunk on the ground. It ain't gonna bounce. This is the first time we've seen a little bounce. A little bit of rubber in there. Okay, rubber meets the road. Dow Jones Industrial Average today, 34,161. Oh my gosh, it's up 63 points on the day, but this has been one of the strongest. Oh, what a rally for a bear market rally, what do you call a bear market rally? It just keeps going and going and going. We're going to set new highs in the market in this bear market rally. It's not that far away. It's in sight. It's only about 36.2, and we're at 34.1, and it's just it's within reach. Set new market highs in this bear market. I mean, oh boy. Crude oil today, big drop in crude price. $3.65 drop in crude price. $77.30 is down 4.51%. Now we're going to take a look at the MOVE index at 133.53. Bonds and rates today. We're seeing the long end of the yield curve. We're seeing yields drop. Further out you go, the more they're dropping. This is like something called yield curve control, which is basically, yield curve control is when the central banks control the long end of the yield curve, keeping yields low on the long end of the yield curve and not letting yields go too high. And, that's a control mechanism, yield curve control. I'm not going to come out here and march out and say, hey, that's what they're doing. But you notice that yields are lower on the longer end than they are on the short end. It's getting to be a substantial margin. Look at that U.S. 1 year, 4.77. It's almost up to 5%. And 3.77 on the U.S. 30 year. So the 1 year is far higher than the 30 year. I think it's almost, it is. It's more than, right now, it's more than 1% higher. A full percentage point higher. 3.77 on the 30 year and 4.779 on the 1 year. Now, is that an inversion or what? Okay. Dollar index. Got a dropping dollar today. It's falling at 106.31. Now, and I'm going to tell you, it really looks bad for the dollar if the dollar is dropping, being compared to a bunch of other fiat currencies that are not doing well themselves, primarily the euro. I mean, the dollar's dropping against the euro and against a basket of other ones like the Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, etc., which are all crap, and the dollar's dropping against that. That doesn't bode well for the dollar. I mean, see, that's the thing, is what you're comparing the dollar against. It would look an awful lot worse if you were comparing the dollar against something that had some real value. The dollar would never stand up. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode, and have a great day. Bye-bye.